soon as this pops on, he's going to see us and say, hello. Maybe. Hopefully.
Hang on.
Oh.
I'm still here. Don't worry.
I was going to say, as soon as we go live, you're going to camera off. Nope.
I don't want to pick my teeth in front of people, so.
Oh, hell, I'll do that all the time. Actually, I say that, but I do it in the truck by myself. So, you know, I guess I can't say that.
It has been a week since we've been here, Tyler.
It has been a week, hasn't it? A legit week this time. Not none of those fancy 6-day disclaimers. Well, I decided to Google darkest joke you know, but
They're all racist jokes.
Yeah, they're all horrible. I'm gonna have that as the disclaimer. Shocker. Why is it so hard to break up with the Japanese girlfriend?
Why is it so hard to break up with a Japanese girlfriend, Tyler?
You have to drop the bomb twice before she gets it. It's like, damn. And somebody responds, it's okay. There's plenty of other Japanese girls in the sea. And it's like, okay.
And that's it for episode 37 of Casual Master.
Hey, these are brutal jokes. I'm not gonna lie. Goddamn. Oof. Dark humor is like food. Not everybody gets it. Nope, I'm backing out of these. Like my tongue was starting to wiggle at something. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Tyler. Back the fuck up, Tyler. No, thank you.
The things that we probably are not going to be part of the show, so it'd probably be good to have it as pre-show.
Wait, should we be posting the link to like Facebook and Twitter and stuff right now?
I already retweeted on Twitter. It posted automatically.
Okay. Yeah,
but yeah, should give it a try on Facebook. Oh, excuse me. Jeez.
Oh no. Don't post the Hangouts link, please.
And before we know it, so we've got special guests today.
Did you see my post on Discord?
No.
About a potential guest.
Oh yeah, I saw that. One of my friends is interested too, but I have to vet his mic first.
Ooh, yep. I totally understand that.
But anyways, Metroid Prime 4 is getting delayed. Which is fine. I mean, if you think about it, Breath of the Wild also got delayed for quite a while.
Yes.
And better a delayed and proper game than a rushed and unfinished and bad game.
A delayed game is good eventually. A bad game is bad forever. Bad forever.
And there was something else that happened that I wanted to talk about, but I can't remember.
Well, you got to remember if you want to talk about it.
Yeah. Thanks for the tip, Tyler.
Yep, hot tips. Hot tip Tyler, that's what they call me. For a different reason, usually. People say it burns after, but you know, whatever. God damn, I hate chlamydia. I'm sorry, I can't handle myself on that. That's fucked up. The fuck is that?
All right. I'm ready. Let me close my door. Oh, okay.
All right. We got the show notes all set.
Yes, sir.
All right. Is there any last things we need to do? Any wild tangents we need to throw down?
No, we're gonna do that all in the show anyways, regardless of how hard we try, so...
Isn't it so good, though?
Oh, all right. Ready.
I missed you, Nick.
Miss you too, bud.
Ooh, that sounded mandatory almost. Ooh. Oof. Oof.
I was in the middle of a drag. What did you want me to do? Not stop?
Respect the drag. All right. Is there any last? No, I already asked that question. I suppose it's time to start.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. All right. Sorry. I gotta be goofy. Gotta get in a goofy mood. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Casual Master Quest. This is episode number 37. I'm your host today, Tyler Vitito, but let us not forget that we have the super awesome partner over in the corner over here, Nick. Nick, look alive, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm alive, which is truly a shocker after the events of this past week, but
you know, same thing. We got stories. I'm pretty sure we have stories. So, Nick,
mind you, yours are probably a lot more of a harrowing experience than mine. Mainly because I put myself in that position voluntarily, and you didn't.
I mean, I did. I wanted money, Nick.
No. I mean, I know, but like, you know, you had no choice but to go down those routes. You know.
I mean, technically, yes. I was put into a position where I either had to deal with it or just sit there and wait for it to be done. But the longer I was going to sit in the area, it was just going to get increasingly worse. So it became very perilous. Like, we'll go in details. Don't you worry, guys. But Nick,
hi.
You had some fun recently. What's going on in your end, bud?
Besides school, it's been a slow week until this past Friday, where I went to a concert.
Ooh, concert.
Now I don't know whether people remember how familiar people are with my taste in music, but it usually revolves around, you know, metal, hardcore punk, a lot of heavy stuff, guitars, loud noises.
I always thought you was the classical kind of guy with a piano.
Well, you'd be wrong, Tyler.
Oh,
you'd be wrong.
I'd be very, very, very wrong. Yes.
I can do classical music in very limited amounts every now and then. But
you know, I'm trying to wonder what my taste in music at this point, because I used to tell people 80s hair band, and I still love them, but I feel like my tastes change over time, which, you know, it's natural. It happens.
Which is natural. Yeah. I feel like you're a ska guy, or you had a ska phase.
Nick, can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure what ska is. I know it's a genre of music, so
I can't with words. I cannot describe ska. You'd have to actually go and look up ska bands.
Is ska like would it be like the dirty cousin of techno technically?
No, it's like a it's hard for me to describe in words. It's like
it's funny because
surf music with
surf music.
It's like surf music with
yeah,
but with
now that's Gary's theme from or Blue's theme from fucking Pokemon. My bad.
No, but I mean kind of like on the similar, but it's got a little bit of a funky edge to it.
Okay.
And it's just like weird, like fucking skater music, but it's not like hardcore or heavy.
So if I was running down the beaches of Florida on a hot summer day, this would be the music that would be playing behind me?
No, on beaches of Florida, it's usually some kind of K-Kona music. So you
Oh, I was
want
gonna say
Garth Brooks or Blake
something like
Shelton.
from Cuban or a nice Puerto Rican tune. But yeah, you're right. Okay, the beaches
Yeah.
of California, then, where all the hipsters are.
Yeah, if you don't get high just by passing somebody, using something.
Oh
Um,
man, that second win, when
yeah.
it'll hit you hard too.
But anyways, me and my roommate went to a concert where there were five bands playing, four opening bands and one headliner. I think we paid 22 US each,
That's pretty cheap
um,
for a concert with five bands.
starting at like 6:30 at night all the way until about 11. So we
Holy
we
shit, that's an hour per band at least there. That's I mean,
so
obviously it's probably
each band
split
has
up
about
differently.
30 to 45 minutes per set, and then 15 minutes get set up for the next band.
Right, the
Because
transitions. That makes
yeah,
sense.
it's unfortunate financially what the situation is for some of these bands, because some of them are fantastic, but because it's great for us because the prices are so cheap, so we don't have to spend a lot of money heading out. But this means that they do a lot of their own work. So like you'll actually see the band members taking down their instruments, taking down their cables, and then helping the next band get set up. And it's usually the headliner who has a crew that helps the last one or last two bands.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
at least on stage. Otherwise, they have a crew that helps them backstage, loading up in the trucks and everything. Anyway, so we go downtown at about 4 o'clock. Um, go to happy hour, get a few beers, get some food, and we go off to the concert. And we're like, physically, I'm not in the best shape, purely stamina wise in this particular case, because at concerts like this, you're going to see mosh pits and circle pits, and so that entails a
Ooh,
lot of running around and pushing people around,
free for
um,
all.
pretty much. And so I'm like, you know what? We'll just the headliner is a band called Silverstein, and they were on a tour to celebrate their first album. It's been 15 years since release.
Hmm.
And so they had two sets. First set they played only their first album, and then the second set they played songs from other albums and greatest hits and stuff. And so I think they had a 23 song set. It was fantastic. It was nice and long. Um, so we're like, you know what? We're gonna wait till the second set of the headliner of Silverstein, because we don't want to tire ourselves out and we don't want to die. But the moment you get in there and you just feel the energy, we couldn't help ourselves. We just threw ourselves into the mosh pit immediately. And so
Nice.
I ended up as usual getting elbowed, pushed around, pulled down, pushed down, elbowed in the chin. I think I was elbowed in my chin, um, stepped on, beer spilled on. It sounds bad, but it was a fun night. It's been a while since I've been
Welcome
in a
to
mosh pit.
America.
It's been a while since I was in a mosh pit, and it was really fun. Like with mosh pits, when people fall over, there's like six people helping that person up,
Hmm.
and generally you'll have one or two assholes, or you'll have one or two super drunk people, but generally people are looking out for each other. So the moment somebody goes down or they're injured, everybody's helping them get out and get to safety. um but yeah, that was my night. I still have ringing in my ears, temporary tinnitus. My voice is a little raspy, but I completely lost my voice night of.
Ooh,
Yeah.
good job. It sounds like you had a hell of a good time at least.
Yeah, and I'm usually not a physical person ever. Like I despise pain of any kind, and I despise physical contact of any kind.
Yeah,
But
you're more of a special attacker. You don't like physical moves.
that's exactly right. But in situations like this, it was a good release, and I think everybody understands that, especially the band. And that's why the band tends to, because they're on a stage and they're overlooking everybody. It hasn't happened in the concerts that I've been to, but you see a lot of videos where bands are always vigilant over what's happening in the mosh pits, and so you'll see videos of bands calling out that, all right, stop, this guy needs help before we continue, and so on. Like everybody keeps an eye out for each other.
Hmm. That's awesome because honestly, it feels like it could easily get out of control if somebody doesn't call it out real quick. I mean,
Hmm.
maybe not to the point of everybody being anonymous in a mosh pit, but once you get into a group like that, I would like to think that mob thinking really takes over real quick. Where
Yes
no one
and
cares.
no. It depends on the show and the culture of that kind of music. For the most of the time, for most of the shows, the kinds of shows that we go to, the general strategy or the general practice is elbows are tucked into your body, tucked in close towards your body, and
Mhm.
your arms are not used to punch. They're just used to push. So you've got palms open up. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes the elbow will go flying out as you get pushed a little too hard and you lose control. And so stuff like that is understandable. But for the most part, there's no kicking, there's no punching, there's no wild swinging. Arms, elbows are tucked into the body, and people are just pushing each other around.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah,
No bruises?
I'm sure people could walk out with a few bruises. My roommate's taller than me, so he's a bit of a better target, and his back and his chest, his belly are a little bit more susceptible to damage. The one thing that was interesting was, I don't know if it's because I haven't been to a show in so long, but there were a lot more women at this show, which well, I mean, that's just a statement. There's just a lot more women than I remember, or like on average, and there's a lot more women participating in the mosh pits, which is fantastic because in a setting like this, nobody cares where you're from, what gender you are, how you identify, what color you are, like how tall you are, how big you are. Everybody pushes people around in the same way.
Oh man, it's almost like New York City the way you're describing it.
It's equality at its finest in a mosh pit.
Nice.
Nobody cares, and like nobody cares in the sense that, oh, you're a woman, so I'm not gonna push you as hard. No, or you're a woman, so I'm gonna push you harder. No, everybody pushes each other in an equal manner. And at the end of each song, everybody's shaking hands, hugging, congratulations, like being happy together, and then they start it up again next song.
Congratulations, I just got married. Yes, that's my first kid too. It was a boy. Oh my gosh, good job. Here, let me help you up. It's just weird the way you're describing it, Nick, because it's like I'm in a mosh pit and I feel happy because I'm being shoved square in the back like an equal. And it's like, damn, Nick. I mean, it's fair. It's true.
It's a hard thing to describe to anybody. I would imagine one of the biggest requirements to partake in a mosh pit is to enjoy that kind of music, but also to feel the need to release in that way. Because mosh pit, I would argue, is usually about 20% at most of the entire audience. Because there are a lot of people sitting on the fringes and just standing, having a good time, headbanging, and in their own respective corners. But you really need to feel the need to release in that physical way, unless you have other various other releases in your life. A mosh pit is a nice thing.
A mosh pit sounds like the adult version of a ball pit at this point.
Pretty much. No, it's pretty much.
You want to go fucking wild, but you don't have any like the ball pit would be kind of like safety measures, so kids can't just fucking tackle each other at the McDonald's playground. But at the mosh pit, training wheels come off. Tuck elbows in, go at it. Pretend you're a ram.
Pretty much.
That's fun, man. That's fun. Over at my end, things have cleared up over at work, thankfully. I didn't want to talk about anything specific just in case, things go down in a direction I don't want it, or there needed to be privacy concerns or whatnot.
Right.
Long story short, I made collision with a fence post with the truck, and it did about $20 to $40 worth of damage. Thankfully, no one cared, as it turns out. It was still an event, an incident, and so they got to treat it like something serious. But the store owner didn't give a hoot. Fleet manager, didn't really give a hoot. Even the accident board was like, why are we here? This guy, it's like, just tell him to buy us a 6-pack and call it good. No, not really. But long story short, it's like, Tyler, you probably shouldn't blow up any more fence posts, but we're not going to give you up. You're here for a while, sucker. I'm like, okay, sure. And it's like, speaking of needing you, Tyler, we had somebody that called in sick. I'm like, oh no. And he's like, yep, they're calling in sick for the rest of the week. I'm like, oh, who? Oh, it's this person who does the route in northern Michigan. I'm like, that can't be too bad. Like 12 hours later, I'm in the middle of a fucking blizzard. I'm like, this might be bad. And It was from Wednesday night to Friday night, so 3 nights I got to do this by myself. Second night I was actually riding along with him, and it was like part one of the hell that was to come. But thankfully, I was just riding passenger, and it turns out he did not want anything to do with that, amongst many other reasons. But yeah, the first night was an interesting night because it was simply snow and a little wind. That's something I'm used to. I live in Michigan,
Right.
for goodness sakes. Second night was a bit different though. I actually never been in one of these before. Nick, do you know what a squall is?
Yeah, it's sudden like super heavy rain.
Yes, in this case, a snow squall.
Okay.
So on my way back, I'm wrapping up near the end of my shift, and I got a 2.5 to 3 hour normal ride back to the DC. I got hit with a very slow moving snow squall that was expecting to dump 4 or 5 inches of snow in the course of a couple hours, which, as I'm sure you can guess, that's really quick, and it was brutal. Uh, there was a lot of scariness with that, Nick. There was a point in time where I was driving through a 2-lane road with 50-foot high pine trees on each side, and all of a sudden the wind would pick up to 30, 40 miles an hour, and all of a sudden I couldn't see anything. And it's like, my fucking nature, I couldn't even see the road already. Now I can't see anything. It's like, well, at least let me look for the lines and stuff. And getting on the interstate, there's up in northern Michigan on the southbound lanes for that interstate, it's slopey on each side. So when the wind picks up, it'll blow up the slope, and all of a sudden it'll just drop all this fine powdery snow into the air and suddenly blinds everybody. Now, the good news is I'm doing this between 2 and 5 o'clock in the morning, so traffic is absolute minimal.
Right.
I cannot say the same for other people who drove down there later that day. They actually had to close down part of the interstate for these areas I had to go through at this time because somebody got blinded. They slowed down. Truck behind them didn't see them slow down. And within the course of half an hour, there was a huge buildup of people just crashing into each other. And it's kind of frightening knowing that happened like hours after you went through this circumstance, trying to just trying to get home. And last night I actually saw the results of one of those incidents. It was kind of freaky, Nick. It was like kind of like a Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come kind of shit, because I saw a tanker the night before. Apparently it had spun a 180 and then slid down the slope, and he was just sitting there at the bottom of this large hill covered in snow, and he just kind of looked like a ghost sitting there like, ooh, don't go over 35. And I'm like, okay, fine. And then yesterday wasn't even that bad. The only downside was it was cold. It was cold. Nick, I can't tell you what the temperature is in Celsius. I'm sorry. But there was a point in time where I was wrapping up unloading, and a lot of people are going to be like, oh, it wasn't cold like that, there, that's nothing. Over here in, Antarctica, over at the South Pole base, it was, negative 500 or some shit like that, which is not physically possible because negative 493 or 73 or something like that. It's absolute zero or 0 Kelvin, whatever. Anyways, it was negative 13 Fahrenheit last night, and that is cold.
That's cold.
That's stupid cold. Like
That's very cold.
Like 15 degrees is cold. 5 degrees is stupid cold. Negative 13 is ridiculously stupid cold. It's just, why at that point? Now, thankfully, it wasn't a big deal because the wind wasn't picking up last night. However, snow is frozen water. Snow will collect on my liftgate and whatnot. I move the snow touches my gloves, the snow melts. Gloves are now watery. What does watery gloves do at negative 13 Fahrenheit?
They become warmer.
Yeah, I wish. I wish they became warmer. I actually am kind of I was explaining to my wife, like parts of my arm are like just stiff and sore, like I got early arthritis for a minute. unfortunately, I believe I got frostbite at the tips of my fingers. Thankfully, I was able to get to a sink fast enough with hot water just to warm them back up. And the end result was, instead of, chopping off fingers over here, they hurt like a son of a bitch for a couple hours. But I lived. Holy shit, I lived. I got to go through a squall. That was exciting. I'm keeping my job, so I'm happy. And I only want to drink a little wine tonight instead of taking a whole bottle. I'll still do it. Let's be real here.
So back home in Dubai, the drive between Dubai and Abu Dhabi is about let's see, what's 200 kilometers in miles? It's about 124 miles.
Okay.
You can make that drive anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half, because the speed limits of the road are let's see, the speed limit is about 75, but people usually drive at 86, so about 90, because the cameras don't click at 90, they click at 92. But people usually drive at about 100. Because they know exactly where the cameras are, so they'll speed up and slow down in between. Now,
these are like police cameras of sorts that check people speeding. Okay.
Yeah, these are speed traps. Now, this is very dangerous in general, because it is a little bit reckless, but also the roads are much larger. We're talking about this is a 7-lane highway.
Ooh.
So like, if as long as you're being smart about it, you can be as fast as you want. Where the problem arises is during the winters, we get something called monster fog, where you cannot see anything in front of your car.
Monster fog? Like,
yeah.
Do you hear Thriller in the background and like Swamp Things start coming out?
That would be a lot better than what it actually is. Like, you cannot see in front of you.
Okay.
You could. It's really bad. And so I think it was 2010, maybe around then, there was a 300 car pileup.
Holy shit.
On the highway, because you have people who drive with high beams in the fog because they don't know what to do. So it just causes even more glare. And then you have people driving with their hazard lights on, which is also something that you don't do. And so all it took was two cars to start a chain of events, and then that's it. It was a 300 car long pileup, all in one line. I don't know how many people died, but it wasn't very high. It wasn't a high number, because response for incidents like this is usually quick. But I think that's the current world record of the biggest pileup anywhere in the world.
God damn. I mean, that's not. I guess that's something you can brag about, and
and there was also, I think it was last year, where there was another video that my mom sent me where again, it was another pileup, not as big as this one. There were maybe 20,
honey,
30
I just
cars.
to make sure you're okay. Here's a picture so you miss home.
No, she sent me a video, Nick. Not just a picture.
Oh, I'm sorry, a video.
300, like 30 car pileup. Maybe everybody was stopped. It wasn't bad. It was maybe a few fender benders. A few fenders bent out of shape. And everybody was out of their cars, calling the cops, because the standard procedure is, at least back home, is you can't get in an accident and just drive away from it. You have to call the cops and you have to get a report done so that you can take it to the mechanic or whatever and get the car fixed. Or the parts replaced. But anyways, and then they're standing there, and then all you hear, like off screen for about 2 seconds, is just like honking, and people yelling, and you see people running and jumping out of the way because a truck, a big truck, couldn't see anything because of the fog, just came straight through and carved a nice little path through all these cars. Nobody was injured. But it was something out of a war zone, because you had one. She sent me another video where they're walking down the street and you see fire, bits and pieces of cars all over the place. It was, yeah.
That's fucked up, Nick. I'm not gonna lie. Like, do you want me to hold a punch on that one? It's like,
oh no,
Christ, dude.
To invalidate your point or your feelings or experiences. I'm like, this is like car says. This is the leading.
Validated.
The car deaths are the leading cause of car accidents are the leading cause of deaths in the UAE, in the Middle East.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say car accidents are the leading cause of motorist death. I'm like, are you serious? Really? I wasn't sure. But
who would have thought?
Just
But
the
yeah,
way you
just
went with that, it would have been like a couple years ago, like, man, I'm feeling really sad. Well, you know what? Uh oh shit. Robin Williams, he was depressed and he hung himself. So at least you're doing all right. And it's like I could relate with you. I'm like, yeah, yeah,
thank you. Yes,
yes,
sure.
thank you. Wow, outlook in life. Holy shit, Nick. I'm gonna give a quick plug-in for something completely different. On Facebook, if you want to look up Twisted Truckers, it's a cool Facebook page where they post the goof ups of semi-trucks. A lot of people will actually post their own videos up too, just have a laugh and say, hey, this is my goof up back in the day. We all make mistakes and all that. And so unfortunately, there's a couple of times where the videos aren't as pretty. It reminds you a lot of your own mortality occasionally.
They're not safe for work, needless to say.
Twisted Truckers, I believe, might be safe for work. There is another
Not all
one.
of them.
I'm gonna say not all of them. Let's be real. But let's talk about perilous trucking, because this is a video game podcast, Nick.
Yes.
As we always suggest, like video game podcast. Maybe
sure.
There's video games in here.
We play video games.
We do. Yeah. Yes, we do. Nick, what have you been playing this week?
Okay, I'm going to start off with the big one because the other two that I want to talk about we have in common. I got into the Anthem VIP demo.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how was it?
So a friend of mine pre-ordered the game, and when you pre-order the game, you get 3 friend codes that give them access to the VIP demo, which by the time this episode is out is already done. And so the open demo will start this coming Friday. And I just want to get the dates correct. That would be the 1st of February.
I assume 1st of February. You were playing this on the PC?
Yeah, yes, sir. It is a game. So right now, I'll have more to talk about it next week because I'll be able to sink more time to it. But it's plagued by a lot of issues right now, mainly connection. Like the day one servers were not equipped for the amount of demand. And so people were complaining, and then I'm like I know it's a little bit annoying and it's a little bit inconvenient, sure, but does nobody remember the days of the Burning Crusade login queues, of Destiny Rise of Iron login times? That was a 6-hour wait. Like a lot of these people are complaining about it. They're like, oh, they should have been ready. Like there's no way any kind of company put aside
that's what this was for. This is a beta test. It was meant to stress test the servers.
Like,
so it's like
put aside the scumminess, put aside the scumminess or the goodness of a company. No company, a company will be able to tell how many people, they'd be able to predict how many people are going to be playing the game over a period of time, but no company will be ever able to predict how many people are going to log into a game at a given point in time. At least I don't think that's possible.
I mean, logistically speaking, they could have a rough idea just by data tracking, but considering this is a new input for them almost completely, there's no information that they can jump off of this.
Exactly.
The pre-order thing, they could calculate how many pre-orders there were, plus,
but there were 3 friend codes per pre-order. So per pre-order,
that's a huge variable, yeah.
Possible of 4 people logging in at any given time, across all platforms too. So PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And people were complaining, and apparently it created an instance. And I don't know the how factual the statement is, but there was a post on Twitter that I was reading about how when login failed, the launcher or the game would spam the server, would flood the server with reconnect requests, and essentially that caused the Anthem to DDoS itself.
The fuck? Serious?
Apparently somebody was tracking the packets that the game was sending out and receiving, and so that was what was happening when they failed to connect to servers. It was spamming the EA servers with connection requests, and that caused them to DDoS themselves. So again, I don't know how factual that statement is, but I thought that was funny.
That is funny. Joke, holy shit.
Another joke that I saw was Anthem's beta is so VIP that even the servers can't play with it. But moving on to the game, it is a third-person over-the-shoulder shooter. Not as open world as maybe people would have liked, or maybe they advertised, but I don't think it was No Man's Lie level. I think it was just maybe the world building that needs a little bit of work or a little bit more definition. But the verticality can be insane at some places. Like there's a lot of space at some parts of the map that we have access to. I skipped through all the story stuff. I'm personally not interested. I just want to shoot things. The enemies, there are no mechanics per se. Like you have your abilities and you can combo them and do certain things in those combos or with those combos and get a certain amount of experience. But enemies really are just bullet sponges. You might have to go and shoot down this shield or this turret to further an objective or to stop the enemies from spawning. But beyond that, they're just bullet sponges. And so within reason, I think it's fair to say that some people would like that and some people won't like that. Maybe some people need more dynamic gameplay. For me, the dynamic part of the gameplay comes from the movement. I strongly believe that because it's BioWare and because they have a history with Mass Effect, that they built this game to be fully compatible with controllers, or they built it with controllers in mind first, and before they're like, before they decide to start mapping the controller buttons to keyboards, because some of the key bindings just don't make sense. Now, in most games that have a map, Tyler, what would you guess would be the button to open the map?
For me, on a controller, let's say for me, a PlayStation 4
on
controller.
a keyboard.
Oh, keyboard. M.
M?
Yes. Open a map.
No other button?
Tab?
Tab is a standard, so it's usually tab or M. In this case, it was purely M, and tab was to cycle through weapons.
Oh, wait. Did I just completely counter your own point of a complaint here by saying that M felt natural to me?
No, M is fine. I'm not arguing that M is fine, but tab is generally, at least with the last few years of games, it's usually tab that if you want to open up, like you'll open up a status screen or a map of some sorts in the game that has a map, or in a game that doesn't have like a mini map. But here tab is to cycle through weapons, which I found very strange.
That's weird. Isn't that usually mouse wheel?
Mouse wheel, or you use the button, the numbers, and in this case you can use the numbers, but I felt that was weird. What's usually a button to interact? For me, that's usually E. Here the interact button's F. So I really do feel like
the hell is this shit?
Yeah, I really do feel like they just put things together at the last minute.
We can reconfigure that though, right?
Oh yeah, you can fully reconfigure it. These are just nitpicky things throughout the beta so far.
Very weird default choices.
Like you had you have emotes, and the emotes I think is period and comma, which if you didn't look through the key bindings, you would not know that that's what they were.
Huh. I don't know what I would have chose for emotes. Maybe Q, I guess, potentially, but Q or Z, or the ZXC area.
That's weird.
Well, what the hell is Destiny's emote thing?
It's the arrow keys.
Well, whatever.
Oh no, but also, but also Anthem, you have 3 abilities, so that's why. So I have them bound to Q, Z, and then my mouse buttons.
Okay, well, good for you, Nick. I'm so happy that you found some kind of discord with the button controls.
Moving away from the button controls.
While also shaming me on my recommendations of what they'd go on the keyboard, because apparently I'm no better than EA. Okay.
No, you're wrong.
Am I wrong?
It is a very CPU intensive game, and I believe that's because of the engine or because it's poorly optimized. I believe, again, everything that I've said so far where I've started with I believe or I think, I'm purely speculating because I have no proof for these things. I think that they put up a older build for the demo because it's very poorly optimized. Some places jump from 30 frames all the way up to 120 frames, all the way back down to 45 frames. So it's a little choppy.
Those are the PV or VIP zones, Nick. If you have the VIP pass, if you have the friend codes, it's caps it at 30, but every once in a while it gives you like a free trial version.
That's fair. That could very possibly
be respect how EA handled these things, okay?
That could very well be it. It's very poorly optimized. It uses 90% of my CPU. 90% of my CPU, Tyler.
Wow, yeah, I'm wowing with effort here.
and everybody else
Wow.
is reporting similar numbers, so it's not just me. Um, but going back to movement feels really dynamic. You have a jump, then you have a double jump, then you can hover, and then you can fly, and you can do all of those things pretty seamlessly. But you do have a cooldown or a heat bar on your jets, so you can only fly for a certain time before you overheat, and then either you just stop flying and run for a little while to cool down, or you can fly through water to cool down your engines, and so that completely cools it down. Yeah. And it's some of the other things are cool. Like if you take fire damage, it automatically overheats your jets, so you can't fly. Or if you're overheated and you take frost damage and you get frozen, it cools down to your jets. So a lot of these things are really are pretty cool.
This could be interesting, like boss mechanics. Like you need to get to a higher floor, but you keep taking damage, so you got to get hit by the boss doing a frost attack just so you can get up and escape to the next level or something.
I would imagine that would be the extent of the kind of mechanics that they'd be able to introduce with how bullet spongy these bosses are. But yeah, really, it's the movement that makes the game dynamic and fun. You start off the game, the demo at least, with the standard javelin. That's what they're called. These suits, they're called javelins, and you started off with a javelin called the Ranger, which is your standard, balanced, beginner-friendly kind of suit. And then you can once you hit level 12 in the demo, you get the option to unlock the other 3 out of the 4 javelins, but you can only pick one of them. So I picked the Storm, which is basically so you have the Ranger, the Storm, the Interceptor, and the Colossus. Ranger is your standard balance between offense, defense, beginner friendly. You have the Colossus, that's the tanky one. So it's a big hulking, like a Hulkbuster. It's essentially the Hulkbuster
I
armor.
wasn't sure. The Colossus, like, man, it sounds kind of like a Titan, but what do I know?
Pretty much a Titan. And then I think its ultimate is this big machine gun that it pulls out of nowhere, or its ultimate ability. I can't remember what it is, but it has its mobility is very low, but it has a high amount of armor and health. You have the Interceptor, which has very like lowered shields and health, but is super fast. And then you have the Storm, which essentially is akin to a mage or warlock. And so you can just kind of float around, and you can throw lightning, fire, and frost at your enemies.
And of course you picked that.
I was about to ask, what would you guess that I would pick? And yes, of course I picked the Storm. Storms, of course I would pick the Storm. I can just float around, and I get a cloak too. I get a cloak, throw lightning and fire at my enemies. Fuck them.
You know what's upsetting? For Destiny 2, I spent the first 10 hours getting very upset. And I was like, I'm playing on my Titan. I'm like, when am I going to get my cape? Because I really want a cape and look cool. I didn't know, man. I didn't know.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Upsetting. So I'm glad we can get capes in this game, at least.
Yeah, you can get capes in this game, but really it's only for the Storm too. So
okay.
Yeah, so I've only played a little bit of the Storm. I went through one of there are only 3 missions that you get access to, and then you can roam around freely. And they have something called a what was it called? It's like a raid, but it's not I can't remember what it's Stronghold. That's what it's called, Stronghold, and it has like a big boss at the end, and you get loot. It's an interesting game. I personally am gonna wait for a week or 2 weeks post launch to wait for the reviews, see how much there is actually to do in the game, because it is a full priced game regardless of what you do. And so I don't want to buy. And then in comparison to the Division 2, which I'm also trying to get into the beta for, I'd have to really pick and choose between the 2 of them. The craft system is interesting. You can dismantle a lot of the loot that you get to get certain parts to craft weapons up to, I think it was called Epic. So the standard rarity goes white, green, blue, purple. And you can craft up to purple gear, and you can only get gold or yellow drops from PvE. But I think the demo only goes up to blue drops. Overall, it's okay. It has a lot of issues in terms of just loading. Like I don't believe I've not gotten stuck on a loading screen. I've gotten stuck on every loading screen that forces me to quit the game and then relaunch it. And the nice thing, at least, it pushes me right back into the activity that I was trying to get it to.
Nice. I do have a couple of questions. If you
go for it.
Sure. The first question is this a Destiny killer?
No, they're different games.
Oh,
Essentially, they're different games.
oh,
This game has no PvP whatsoever.
okay.
Um, that's a fair question to ask. Don't mind me. It's just I've been frustrated over the last week seeing all the hype and all the talk and people just talking about how it's gonna be a Destiny killer when a lot of people just don't realize that they're just different games. They're gonna suit different needs. Anthem's a little bit slower. It's a little bit more shooty, maybe a little bit more grindy in specific ways. Only PVE, so a lot of PvP people are not gonna be happy. Anybody who doesn't like Warframe is not gonna enjoy this as much because not that it is Warframe, but it is probably closer to Warframe than it is to Destiny.
I only say that just because I knew I would ruffle your feathers up just a little bit if I said something of that sort. Honestly, I couldn't tell you. A couple of other questions. Has there been any good moments that you would like to share that you can think of where you were able to cooperate with your friends in the game and it turned into an interesting story?
I haven't played with my friends yet, but nothing that stands out. I've just been getting used to the flow of the game, and really all it is for me is just being able to fly. That's really awesome. It just feels weird on a mouse and keyboard, and so I've seen a few streamers play the game on mouse and keyboard but fly with the controller. Because again, I believe that they built the game with the controller in mind, or at least from the ground up, and so flying feels. And traditionally, also a lot of flight simulators or flight-based games generally play better on controllers or joysticks of some sort.
I
Um,
agree. Yes.
so the flying does feel a little bit weird. Um, but no, but really, I'm having fun with the movement. I'm having fun with seeing my jets power up as I start to power sprint, jump into the air, do another double jump, and then seamlessly go into flight path. Hit the space bar again to cancel my flight, and then press C to hover and just hover in place while I shoot down enemies. It just feels good. It feels nice and smooth. I think they did a good job with the gameplay there.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. I did cut you off. Do you remember what you were going to say before we
No, I don't
wrapped up?
remember what I was going to say, but I think I've covered everything I wanted to about Anthem. I'll have more to talk about it on the next episode just because I haven't got it. I've only sunk about an hour and a half, 2 hours into it. And I did one more playtime on the new Javelin that I just unlocked.
Okay. And as Nick said, there is going to be an open beta next Friday, and the release date for the game is February 22nd. So we still got a little bit less than a month before we figure out whether or not this is the game to actually give a shot or not. This will be
Yeah,
interesting.
especially because it's EA. So I really do want to implore our listeners to vote with your wallets. That's really the best that we can do as consumers, as video game players. We gotta vote with how we spend our money, and because it's EA, I'm gonna wait. I know this has been promising enough for a lot of people to buy the full game right out, but I don't fall under that category.
That is very fair. In fact, there'd be only one game right now that I would happily just say, take my money. I don't care what people have been saying. Just let me play it. And that comes out next week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. Now I want to talk a little bit, just a little bit. This is not a game I played, but I had a chance to actually get a good look at. That would be Resident Evil 2, the remastered version that came out this week. In fact, I think it came out a couple of days ago.
Too scary for me.
It is certainly an experience. You're right, Nick. Absolutely. Now, comparatively, it is a hell of a good remaster for Resident Evil 2, all things considered. It does feel a lot more smoother compared to like Resident Evil 5 and 6, and it does take a over-the-shoulder third person versus that of first person in 7, but that does not stop it from becoming immediately spooky. There's a couple of moments where just the room got a little too dark for my taste, and I'm like, I'm glad I'm not playing this game because that would be too frightening.
I did see very little gameplay. I'm talking about purely 5 minutes. There were no spooky scenes. Mind you, there was no spooky scenes, but the moment I heard a spooky sound, I closed the stream because I'm not about to deal with that. That being said, it does look like it looks fantastic. They
Yes,
did a
it
good
does.
job with the art and it looks smooth. They did a good job with setting the tone of the game and the pace. Yeah.
Nick, you played Dead Space 3 with me. You were watching the stream and you closed it because of a scary sound.
Listen, we all know that Dead Space 3 is the least scariest of all the Dead Space games.
Is
And
it?
I haven't, yeah, it is least scariest from everything that I've read. And I had somebody to play it with, so for me that was bearable. But it doesn't seem like there's a co-op option for Resident Evil 2, and and having somebody to type to or talk to over text is not comforting enough for me to watch a stream.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So it came out the last week or this week, depending how you view it. It is $60 and wholly recommend it. I will be holding off on getting it because I still have games I need to catch up on. And there's another big game coming out next week, aka Kingdom Hearts 3, baby. Almost said Kingdom Hearts 2. Is this 2006? Where am I? But you and I have played 2 concurrent games, apparently. One together and one not so much. Heck, let's talk a little bit about Destiny Child.
Yes.
Good old Destiny Child. Now, a couple of things have happened since we last spoke. I was, talking about how great this game is. There's no end in sight. I haven't spent a penny on it. Yada yada yada. Nick, you just recently picked this game up. Well, or at least put some time in it. What's it been like for you?
I've been lost. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. And I put maybe 30-ish minutes, 35 minutes into it.
Okay, I thought you were
40, I'd give 45 minutes.
Hours. I'm like, Jesus,
No.
Nick.
All I know is that I've unlocked a bunch of cute girls to fight for me, but it's all just so confusing. The UI is honestly cluttered. It's one of the laziest, not laziest, messiest UIs I've seen in a long time.
The opening screen for it looks like a Korean wallpaper with icons and stuff, and it's like this here. You got the Miku Miku's, super cool collabers and stuff like that. And it's like, look at this. We're gonna put it in the tiniest font you can think of. And It's like you can make it a little bit bigger. You got all this. No, we're gonna put it in the little corner, and we're gonna let you decide if you want to click on it or not. No pressure.
Yeah.
But it's here.
It's not a game that's captured me, but I figured I'd give it a shot. Probably gonna delete it soon. But I have cute girls on my phone, and that's enough for me.
So, Nick.
Yes.
I forgot, and we should probably bring this up. I contacted you, I believe, on a Tuesday night. I contacted you and my best friend Brandon, because I was like, whoever helps me first. And in fact, you guys both helped me at around the same exact time. So it turns out, and I learned this fairly later, that there is a Korean/Japan version of this game, and then there is a Worlds, aka North America version of this game.
Yeah.
There's a couple of main differences. The Korean version of this, very specifically, actually has a lot more content on it. Stuff like it's called a secret labyrinth and extra missions further into the plot and whatnot. Hasn't quite made it out to our version yet. But there is also a different kind of distinction thanks to iTunes making sure that they don't post anything that's considered too lewd. In this case, they censored a lot of the costumes that the girls wear, and Nick, I'm a pretty natural guy. I like the original product. I'm a black label kind of PlayStation disc owner kind of person.
Sure.
I don't like the greatest hits so much as seeing the original thing. And so I asked Brandon and Nick here to go on a voyage with me, hand in hand, to find the original uncensored version of these skins, to figure out what's the big deal. Why would iTunes, go at it and try to, stop these people from, letting girls dress like this? And it was a fairly easy process. Just had to download the skins, go on the phone to the right folder, move it over, copy, replace, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, we're good.
To anybody listening, this only works on Android phones because the way Android architecture is set up, it will not work on iPhones. So yeah.
So upon doing this, it changed the clothing of what it looks like approximately 100 different characters. There's a couple that are very distinctly different. Like, for example, one of my characters, I believe it's called Celine.
Sure.
A 4-star character who focuses on being the embodiment of the moon, and she's wrapped very tightly in like bandage like material around her entire body. I was like, okay, she's a great healer. I love her. I apply this uncensor patch. There is a little bit less bandaging in very promiscuous, well, I shouldn't say promiscuous, in areas that would be considered perverted in some societies. And I'm like, okay, I understand what happened here. This makes a lot of sense. Do I change it back? It's too much effort. So I just left it as is. There's a couple of it's like getting new free skins, Nick. It's like getting free skins.
That's one way to look at it.
There was also an event that's happening up until very recently. I think it actually might be happening for another week or so, where you can go on the website for this company and it's like, hey, share, you can get yourself a free 5-star rank girl right now. We'll let you re-roll 3 times. You can decide which one you want. And if you don't like those, just share, saying that you wanted the, play this game on Facebook or Twitter, and we'll hook you up. And as Brandon pointed out, you could re-roll as many times as you wanted, because you can post that on Facebook to get the free 3 re-rolls, again, infinitely, and just set the post to only me. So hot tip. So if you want infinite re-rolls, and you look on your profile one day and you're gonna see like 20, hey, I played Destiny Child. Hey, I played Destiny Child. And it's like, no one will know my shame. And so got a free 5-star. Nick, a couple of things have happened over on my end that I'm kind of concerned with.
Right.
The first one is I completed, I believe, World 6, or the 6th section of the campaign. And that's probably been my greatest joy so far. And World 7 doesn't exist yet in the world's version of this game. I've completed all the campaign that can happen up to this point. And so what they want me to do is go back and do the whole thing on hard mode. And it's like, but I don't want to do that. And as it turns out, I really don't want to do that. I tried it and it was just miserable, because instead of making it, I mean, it was harder, but instead of 3 waves of enemies that you face, it's now 5. So it just takes longer. They're more vicious and it's just slower. And when you have to start in the very beginning, like the World 1, doing hard mode, and right, it gives you like 50% more of the experience you would have gotten if you did it normal in World 1, which is atrociously low. And so in order to get back to getting more experience, because why would I just go back to World 6 and just grind the final boss of the area every single time? It's beyond me. What am I talking about here? They want me to work out to like World 3, and I don't think they even have a hard mode for World 4. So all my progress to keep going has suddenly been halted. It's like, okay, well, if I can't do that, then what's my main focus? I guess raising the level of these girls until the campaign can continue whenever that happens. And so there's the Snow Miku and the Hatsune Miku side things that have been going on. I tried that a little bit, and it's like, okay, this is actually getting kind of boring. This is suddenly turning into a legit grind. And I'm currently at like 6,000 fucking stamina that I can just spend doing the same mission over and over into infinity. Or I can do, a bunch of these little dailies that pop up every single night at like 11 o'clock midnight for me. And it's suddenly starting to slow down. It's weird. I never thought I would hit a wall that wasn't me not wanting to pay money. I just simply ran out of fucking content on this game. That's kind of upsetting, Nick.
It sounds a little upsetting, yeah.
A gacha game that I ran out
you don't
of
have to pay for to continue, but it ran out of content.
It's like,
never heard of.
At this point, if they told me for $20 we'll give you the rest of the game, they would have fucking $20 out of me. Like, please, I don't even care. Just give me that Colgate emo looking bastard to give poor phrases for the rest of the game, and I'll be happy at this point. I did get since we last spoke, I was talking about how Brandon got really lucky with his rolls. RNG favored me as well. I got 2 Snow Mikus and a Hatsune Miku. So the special event involving the Vocaloid is now kind of not as interesting to me. There's no intrigue because I have the characters already. And so the special event is starting to burn me out a little bit. There's other things I want to do, but like the Devil Pass, which is another side project that you can do. I hit the max level, so I got what I wanted out of that. So I completed that. There was a Devil Fiesta that ended, which is a bunch of even more shit. Like the stuff I'm naming off is the reason why I got like a spoiling of riches over here. And that's over. That's over. And it's starting to slow down. So I'm hoping sometime the next week or two they introduce a new,
they push out new content and stuff. Yeah.
And I'm sure they will, honestly. I'm actually very certain they will. It's just I burned through it with all the time I had. I'm pretty sure I'm between 25 and 30 hours into this game so far.
Nice.
A free game that I've not spent a penny on, that I still recommend wholeheartedly. Like, if I could get 30 hours out of a free game and enjoy it completely, I mean, even if after the 30, it's like, well, what do I do? It seems kind of satisfactory. That's still 30 hours. I had damn good fun. And there's still other things I can do. I can try to go for meta builds. I could try to roll for characters that, people are saying, oh, this is the best one. This is the best healer. And it's like, shut the fuck up. But I might actually still consider it because, for example, I don't talk about it anymore. I still play Pixelmon.
Right.
I still play the Pokemon Minecraft game. There's been a point where I was like, I will never use legendaries and overuse tier battles. That is no longer the case. I will happily use shit, because if I'm gonna handicap myself and let everybody else go free range and let them destroy me just because it has a higher base stat, no, it's like, why would I use a Raichu for my electric sweeper if they got a fucking Zapdos? It's like, that's not worth it. Just it's straight upgrades while still being in the confines of OU. And so I have rescinded my legendary usage rule for competitive play on the server. And so I'm pretty sure I'll be like, oh, I don't want to do meta stuff on Destiny Child. And it's like, give me a week. We'll see what happens. Yeah. I'll either go meta or I'll put it on a coffee break. But honestly, there's one other game that we played, Nick. There's one other game.
Honestly, it feels like it was forever ago. Oh, before we get into that, I completely forgot.
Yeah.
There was another game that I tried out for about 45 minutes to an hour. Magic the Gathering Arena.
Really?
Yeah.
How was it?
It didn't completely grip me, but I'm gonna keep at it because I played that because I want to see if the actual card game would be a fit for me. And so I'm like, well, I don't want to spend money on cards and this is free, so let's try this. And it makes sense. I just have to actually play it. I got through the tutorial, which took a little while so that I could understand what's going on. But yeah, it's interesting. It's strategic, but it can be very slow or fast paced depending on your play style and depending on your opponent.
It's interesting. I have actually never figured out how to play Magic the Gathering yet. So when I see, +6 or, /4, I have no idea what the hell that means. So do you know what that means now? Because I sure have.
6 would be to attack and 4 would be defense.
Okay. I guess that would make sense. That's fairly simple.
Yeah. So 4 would be, you'd need 4 or more to destroy that unit. If somebody's attacking, it'd need 4 or more attack on their end to destroy that unit. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Nick, you, Brandon, and I played a game last week.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
We actually had a lot of fun. That was a fun time.
For the audio listeners right now, I'm currently staring up at the sky with this goofy frozen grin on my face as I'm trying to comprehend my feelings over what happened last weekend. We played Sea of Thieves together, and a lot of interesting things happened. The big thing right there was the three of us managed to not only fend off multiple ships trying to take our Skull Fort. We succeeded at completing the Skull Fort and then cashing in on all the loot. And we
got attacked by a Kraken on the way. Oh,
we did have to fight.
Oh no, I played Sea of Thieves with some other friends, and we just finished the Skull Fort, and on our way back, we got attacked by a Kraken and a Megalodon.
I'm gonna say the megalodon actually appeared for us right at like the last 50 feet of the island, but we kind of said fuck you. Holy shit! So, in regards to Brandon, Nick, and I playing together, we learned a couple of things. First one is Nick is competitive and salty as fuck, to no ends, to the point that when I want to focus on the Skull Fort, Nick likes to say, "Sup, fools? You should come back to the Skull Fort so I can teabag my nuts on your face." Now he says
That's a very rough translation, but
let's
go
say
on.
modern hipster version of that. You know, sup fools? Come back again if you want some of D's nuts. There, I'm a little bit on as Nikki.
Welcome
Hayes
to
would say here,
2019.
Nick is super salty. Yes, he is. Holy shit! And Brandon, he says he wasn't at the time, but I was the sober, angry one that wanted to do the fort. Nick was super salty and shooting himself at the nearest person he could find, whether or not
I
they were near
wasn't.
the
All
island.
right, all right. Listen. I wasn't constantly shooting myself at other people. These people were attacking us, and so I'd defend, and then I'd come and help at the Skull Fort whenever they were gone away or we destroyed them.
Yes, you would. But the fact that you would murder one or two of them, die with the rest of them, and then during the trip in Davy Jones' locker, you'd be like, ha, 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 I killed the guys. Don't forget to come back if you want some more of this.
I didn't do that all the time. I did that one or two times. When they stopped responding, then I lost the fun of it. So I'd be like, "Yo, what's up?"
Yeah, okay. And you know what? As it turns out, it stuck with them, and they got like so bloody butthurt that they didn't even want the Skull Fort at that point. They just wanted to destroy Nick, and by Nick, an extension, us. And so it just got ridiculous.
No, but how epic was it? We held them off for like an hour, where we were just circling the Skull Fort. We held off 3 ships several different times, or at least 2 ships several different times. We sunk them multiple times, all at the meanwhile never losing our ship once. They never sank us once, Tyler. We
That
are
is very
the
true.
best pirates.
It was interesting because you and Brandon were focusing on the island, and I had my telescope out, just keeping an eye on the ship that was like trying to, keep within distance, kind of like a hyena at this point, trying to score like a little bite of the kill. And then I'm like, oh, he's coming in. And all of a sudden he'd get like a quarter mile closer and then just drop anchor and sit there. And it's like, the fuck is this guy doing? And then, a big old galleon, which I'm pretty sure was probably the same fucking galleon that we hunted down like 2 weeks ago.
Probably.
Revenge or something.
I'm sure it was.
Oh, goddamn. But we did manage to get back. We got a bunch of loot. Nick, you said you played with some friends. Was there anything interesting you want to talk about?
Yeah, no, I got a message late one night. They're like, "Oh, do you want to play Sea of Thieves? We've got, a slot in our party." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll play for a little bit." Played for about an hour. 2 of them were Pirate Legends.
Nice.
And I really did not have to do much, and we made away with, I believe, 3 Skull Forts.
Oh, that's
in the span of an hour. Yeah. The ships on the server, the other ships, they were very tame, which was a little boring. Nobody really attacked us, so we were sad. But we did get a Kraken and a Megalodon at 2 separate incidences, and then a Kraken and a Megalodon at one point, I believe, at the same time.
Wow, the game loves you, as it turns out. Jeez.
Yeah, but no, it was fun. I not that I didn't do anything, but in comparison, I didn't have to do much, so I became completely submissive. Like, just tell me what to do, I'll do it and try not to die.
It takes a pirate legend to tame you.
And I tried to do that too. I asked you, what do you want me to do? I'll do it. And for the most part, I did. And then I only went AWOL when they got too close, and then they started firing at us.
You have the same obedience as my dog who sees the mailman. It's like the moment the mailman comes too close, all bets are off. I'm abandoning my station at every expense of the word, and just go after you. It's like there'll be PvP ahead.
But Tyler, did we die?
You died.
Okay, no, but did we lose our ship?
Okay, did we lose?
Did we
No.
lose our loot?
No. You did make my experience very rough around the edges, mostly because I was trying to be the cool, let's all have fun and play together kind of thing. And Nick, is like, I fuck you moms. And Brandon's like, oh, hell, I might have drank and I'm playing on the cannon. And I'm like, I just want money, guys.
And we got our money and we were having fun at the end.
Yeah, we at the very end, when I was like, I think the phrase was, I can't believe we actually fucking did that, was the actual phrase.
When we finished the Skull Island, I think at that point we were all on edge because we were waiting for everybody to come back and we had all this loot on the ship and we were just all on edge, constantly looking around because at that point too, I think I had to go out for dinner with my roommate and I was getting hungry and I was tired and I'm like, all right, let's, as much as I had fun dominating and killing these people, enough was enough, and it was just a one skull for two, right? It was not like we hit multiple, it was one, and they just kept coming back and coming back and coming back. And I'm pretty sure at one point when you died and you were at Davy Jones' locker with them, they were pretty upset with me. I think they relayed a message to you.
I was playing music with them and they were just sitting there staring at me. I'm like, guys, you don't need to take this so serious. And of course their immediate response was like, tell that to your friend. I'm like, oh,
okay, but see, the funny part is, I don't go into Sea of Thieves serious. Like, I don't care whether I make money or not, whether I lose or I die. I want to have fun, and part of that is me being a toxic idiot fighting other pirates. And if they're just not as good as me, what am I supposed to do about that?
That is very fair. That's why I didn't have anything against other players on what happened on my own personal voyage. Now, Nick, have you heard of Forsaken Shores?
Yeah, that's one of the DLCs. It was Forsaken Shores, Cursed Sails, The Hungering Deep, and then there was a newer one with the volcanoes.
Devil's Roar comes with the Forsaken Shores expansion. It is an interesting area. I never really quite discovered it all that much until I was watching a stream one day and some guy who had no idea what he was doing, but he was popular, was playing with a bunch of veteran, kind of like you, Nick. I took a jab at you, mister. Right. He goes to an island that has a goddamn volcano sticking out of it. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. And he's starting to look at all this cool stuff. I'm like, oh, this is where you get all the glowing shit. And I was like, I gotta explore this thing. So 7 o'clock in the morning, I get back out of bed to go sail to this area, and a couple of things happen. The first time that I try to get to the main outpost over in this area, somebody comes up behind me in their ship, just out of the blue. I didn't even see him. And they're like, excuse me, sir, do you have any loot you'd like to give to us? And I'm like, I really don't actually, man. I'm just trying to get to an outpost. Well, you're going to have to stop your anchors so we can check. And it's like,
what is the pirate police?
I know, right? I got fucking pulled over by the poopy pirate police. And I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. Thank you, though. And the other kid, like, one sounds like he's 13. The other one sounds like he's 8. It's like, he's resisting. Open fire. And, well, they couldn't fire at me. So they just sail, along slowly behind me. And I'm in a straight line to this island that's over like 8 squares away. So I'm like, either I make it or they, sink my ship.
Right.
And so they light me up after they finally catch up to me. I light them up. But as it turns out, 2 beats 1. Mm-hmm. And eventually I just said, screw it. I tried again. And so I get into an outpost that would put me a little bit closer. I look on the map and it's like, oh, there's only the ghost ship, the skull ship, whatever you want to call it, right? And so I head towards that, and it's clearly marked on the mini map. I'm like, okay, as long as I don't shoot at the ghost/skull ship thing, they're not going to mess with me. Don't get too close. And so it's moving away from me. I'm like, it's kind of weird that it shows that on the mini map like this, because I don't remember seeing it on the mini map before. And so I'm getting about a square away from the outpost, Nick, and I discovered a couple of things.
Yes.
The ghost/skull ship thing does not appear in the mini map.
No, it doesn't.
What does appear on the mini map is somebody who has the flags that challenges everybody to the PvP.
Yeah, the Reaper flag, I believe it's called.
I sailed solo right beside this fucking only PvPer on the server and just completely ignored him. And they did not take kindly to that, as it turns out. They immediately shot an anchor ball at me because they were ready, and then proceeded to light me up. And once I saw that there was actual like players on there, I'm like, oh, you guys are I'm sorry, sir. You see my Pee-wee hat? I just want to get to so I try a third time. I get to this fucking island in peace finally. Yay. And so I haven't been able to buy anything in regards to the Forsaken gear of sorts. I don't know what it's actually called. There's a couple of cool things you can buy with gold for a fairly cheap price that's focused on like a crab-like feel. Like I got a cool crab sword, or there's something that's a suit and armor, or not armor, weapons that focus on like the Kraken. So you can either have, wear cool stuff that has like glowy golden eyes on it moving around, or you can look like a goddamn crab. And so I picked up a mixture of the two. And over in the Devil's Roar, there's multiple volcanoes that will randomly explode. And a couple of things happen when this happens. Rocks will shoot everywhere and fucking hit anything they can see. A good sized rock will instantly kill you in one shot.
Yep.
If it hits the ship, it can do anywhere between 1 and 10 holes, depending on how bad or big that rock is. It can get very brutal. Second thing is, when you are in the water near any active volcano, it boils. Yep. It will start to do consistent damage to you. And that's vicious if you're trying to repair a ship that got hit by a volcano, as it turns out. So I looked up a guide trying to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to be doing here, because I want the sweet gear that is all glowing and shit. And it turns out the guides are giving me really different answers. One of them's like, you got to do 5 gold hoarder quests and 5 oracle bounty quests off the main island to do this. And I was like, okay. And another guide's like, actually, you don't have to do that. You just got to explore every single island that's over in the Devil's Roar. I'm like, I suppose I could do that too. And then somebody's like, also, you should talk to the lady on the outpost, and she's going to tell you that she was betrayed. Find the body of her previous crew. And so you got to go to different islands, find their previous bodies, and it gives you tokens. Now, these same tokens we've been getting from killing the Kraken. And so
the doubloons.
The doubloons we've been able to use I think 30 for a weapon or something like that. And so I gotten like 80 so far, but I still can't cash it in on anything decent yet because I haven't fulfilled this mysterious requirements I don't know yet. It's upsetting because I don't know which information is outdated or not.
Right.
But had a good time. It was very upsetting. It was very upsetting, Nick. There'll be so many times where I want to go grab a treasure chest from an island, and geysers would just shoot me up in the sky and then cripple me with falling damage.
Yeah, you're just trying to live your life, and then either the environment was fucking you, or other players were fucking you.
First it was the pirate police, that case,
or the Reaper flags, or
There was a time where I went to the island. There was a volcano exploding. I mean, it was like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't even want to go to the island today. That's good. I was doing the find the final person of the crew that betrayed this lady, and I'm a square away, so I'm cruising. It was gonna be the last thing I did. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna crash into the island, find this person, la di da. I start hearing dramatic music. I'm looking around. I'm still going full speed. I'm not slowing down. No cracking. Nothing. What the fuck is going on? Because I've had enough stressful shit happen to me today. I just want to get to this one island right here. And the real skeleton ship comes shooting out of the water right next to me. I'm like,
yeah. Hi.
Single person sloop. You see that? That's a galleon over there.
Honestly, that's one beyond the kind of stress that would have put you through at that moment. The animation of the skeleton ship just shooting out of the water is one of the best things that I've seen in a game in a long time.
It's super awesome. Seeing that in the Pirates of the Caribbean with what the fuck is Davy Jones' ship called?
The Flying Dutchman.
The Flying Dutchman, seeing that fucking thing shoot out of the water, just the animation of that is wonderful. So I was very impressed and excited, but within a second I realized I knew I was fucked. And I did not get to the island that time. But
No, that's unfortunate.
It's okay. It's okay. Let's talk about a little bit of a modular segment. Just a quick question here, Nick, because there's been a lot of games that have been getting remastered, such recently Resident Evil 2.
Right.
What is your favorite remastered or HDified game?
Honestly, I thought about this a little bit. I don't know if I have a favorite one, but the one that I enjoyed the most in recent times would be Alpha Sapphire Omega Ruby.
This is actually kind of upsetting.
Why? Why?
Because I was gonna say Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Okay, well, I mean, Heart Gold and
No,
Soul Silver were
I'm
good
just
games
saying the
too,
fact
but
we both chose Pokemon. It's like, what the hell?
you mean
man?
that way?
Yes.
Yeah, because I don't. I mean, thinking about the games that I've played in the last few years, not a lot of them have been remasters, except for the Pokemon games, because they're main core line RPG games, and I just have to. Like I can't not. I have to buy at least one of them, and I had a lot of fun with. I think I put most of my time in Omega Ruby. I think it recaptured the magic that Sapphire, Ruby, Emerald had to a large extent, but modernizing it. And I enjoyed the Delta episode. The Delta episode was one of the better post end game content, in my opinion.
It was interesting, the whole Dragon Ascent thing in Rayquaza and Deoxys.
Yeah. But it was a good, fun playthrough. It felt like going home because because Emerald was when I really started thinking about team compositions and actually like learning what special attack and attack means and all the different stats. So those are the ones I enjoyed the most. I think next in line would be the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be my best second in line.
You know, I should say this naturally. I was going to try to go for something like just a little bit off of what people would expect out of me. But 100%, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD was such a great jump of a remaster of a game that it was probably by far easily my favorite HD remake that they have made. No, Twilight Princess was equally as good. And I didn't appreciate them at first until I tried playing, and I did play and beat Skyward Sword. But playing the HD versions of those games that came out before Skyward Sword, I totally appreciate that they didn't want to destroy my eyes to, enjoy a game like that again. So yeah, Wind Waker HD for sure.
Now that you mentioned it, I would put another on the list. I would put Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary Edition. So it was the first one that they basically, it was HDified, and it was a 1-to-1 copy of the game. It was just in HD, and it gave you the cool option of toggling on the fly between old school graphics and current graphics.
Really?
So on the controller, all you had to do was just press a button, and while you're moving, the graphics would just switch over.
That's got to be trippy.
So you could sit and compare like at different areas what they used to look like and what it looks like now. It does allow you to see how outdated it seems mechanically based on the newer games, but it still holds up pretty well. It still holds up very well. And I wanted to quickly mention this. There are rumors of a big Master Chief Collection announcement at South by Southwest in March. And we're all hoping, we don't know whether this is true, that it comes to PC.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna say, didn't the big Master Chief Collection come out for the Xbox One?
Yeah, it's on the Xbox only, and we're all hoping that this announcement, and this is one thing that the team behind at 343 behind the Master Chief Collection are one of the, I think, underappreciated teams in terms of community management and actually going back and forth with the community on what they want and how they could improve things and actually delivering on some of those promises that they've made. And they know and they've acknowledged that a PC port is what the community wants. It's just realistically not very feasible in a given amount of time, but they will think about it or take it into consideration. And they've only teased a big announcement, but we have no details. There's no rumors even, or at least as far as I know. And now everybody's hoping that it's a PC port.
I really hope so too, because right now I'm looking at all the games that are available for Halo. Mostly Halo Wars. It's kind of upsetting. That is not the Halo game I'd want to play on the PC specifically nowadays.
No, and then there's the Forge that you can get on the PC through the Xbox Store, where people have made some PvP maps, and Halo on PC is so smooth. It feels good. The shooting feels nice and tight, precise. The movement is dynamic. It's fluid. It feels like a Halo game, and I miss Halo. But yeah, Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary Edition, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire.
Okay, fair enough. And then for me, it would be The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD, and then Heart Gold Soul Silver, which it was a big jump back in the day. Mm-hmm. I also probably should give a shout out to Kingdom Hearts for making 1.5, 2.5 HD final remix.
They make 1.3, 1.5, 1.8. Isn't that how it went?
They made a 1.5 and a 2.5, and then they made a 2.8 to say
2.8 was the 2.8. Yeah.
They're the Kingdom Hearts 3. Not quite. We're almost there. We're gonna give you everything out there. The final mix of details. But
speaking of Kingdom Hearts,
Nick, it's fucking next week, man.
This is all on you, Tyler. I know nothing, nor am I interested, but I'm happy to see people happy and excited for a game. It truly does make me happy that people have been waiting for this and they're finally getting it. I'm only gonna say one bad thing right now, and that's purely on Sony's end, where they've announced that they oversold. Sorry, no, this is on GameStop's end, where they announced that they oversold the special edition Kingdom Hearts PS4 Pro, and a manufacturer can't meet up to those demands, so they're going to have to start canceling the pre-orders. But don't worry. Don't worry, if you're one of those unfortunate customers to get a pre-order canceled, you're going to get a $25 in-store credit.
Well, how that is better than a $5 in-game credit for trying to ship me over a canvas bag.
That is marginally better than $5 in-game credit that you can buy a potted plant with. Yeah. But anyways, stop doing business with GameStop. Thanks. Tyler, take it away. Talk to us about Kingdom Hearts 3.
Now, Kingdom Hearts 3 has already come out in Japan. Yesterday for us as the podcasters on the 25th, but the 25th of January, it came out in Japan. We're going to be seeing it for those who are listening as soon as this podcast comes out on Monday, tomorrow, the 29th of January. That is, I told Nick this is probably the biggest game that I've been hyped for since Breath of the Wild.
Isn't your sister-in-law somebody giving birth?
My sister is currently pregnant, and her due date is, yes, in fact, the same day on January 29th.
The audacity for somebody to have a baby on the day of the Kingdom Hearts 3 launch.
I'm gonna push my niece back up there. One more.
I just need 12 hours.
Yeah, I'd say just give me 4 or 5 hours just for first impressions or something. Oh gosh, I'm terrible. I am terrible. But holy shit, Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out.
We're finally here.
What freaks me out so damn much is a lot of people haven't played Kingdom Hearts since Kingdom Hearts 2. Maybe some of them played the 2.5 HD version of this stuff, but I mean, how many of the Kingdom Hearts fans that are going to be playing 3 have ever played Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance, any of the mobile games? The chances, I'd like to say, it's pretty slim, unfortunately, but that's the case. Not that many people owned a PSP, much as I'd like to wish that everybody did. People did own the 3DS, so I'd like to think that some people played Dream Drop Distance, but I have not heard one damn person outside the rabid super hardcore community talk about some of the shit that's probably going to be happening in Kingdom Hearts 3. And I have 3 bullet points here. I want to help people who are ready for Kingdom Hearts 3 3 things that they should understand. That is, spoiler alert, everything that has been said in a video game of Kingdom Hearts up until Kingdom Hearts 3. So if you played all the games you want to, and you're about to play Kingdom Hearts 3, and you don't want to touch anything else, I'm going to give you the sweet, sweet bullet points of what you should expect.
Hit us with it.
This is going to get really fucked up. Are you ready for this shit?
I'm probably going to lose track, but hit me with it. Do it.
Okay. So
you don't even know where to start.
Where the fuck do you start? Okay, so Birth by Sleep. There are 3 people that are of very high importance that are good characters in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep 10 years before Kingdom Hearts 1 even happens. There is also a bad guy who is also known as Xehanort. Xehanort, Xehanort has been in the first game. He was also known as Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, and then in Kingdom Hearts 2, he's known as Xemnas, his nobody form. He is back in the game, even though he's been killed twice now, because in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, apparently they just slipped in this tiny little bit of lore. This is probably one of the most fucked up things. If you destroy a nobody and destroy the Heartless of the same person, they will come back to life. So anybody that we killed in any of the games so far that was a nobody or a Heartless has a strong potential of coming back as a retcon character. This does include people like Xehanort. This does include the character Axel, who's no longer Axel now. Nick, do you even know who Axel is?
The only Axel I know is from the Mega Man universe.
Really? Not even fucking Axel from Guns N' Roses? You're breaking my heart here.
We're talking about video games, Tyler.
Okay, fine. Axel, he was part of Organization 13. He really liked Sora's Nobody Roxas. A lot of beef happened. And the last-ditch effort, despite the fact he did a lot of naughty things, such as kidnapping Sora's not so much girlfriend, but kind of girlfriend Kairi for a good point, he saved Sora at the last minute and sacrificed himself, therefore dying. And he came back a somebody, not a nobody, not a Heartless. He come back. He's normal now. He lost the X in his name again, and he's now Lee, L-E-A, instead of Axel. And for some reason, he teamed up at the very last minute over at Dream Drop Distance. He's pretty chill with everybody. Everybody likes him, and he's going to become a Keyblade Master now for some reason. We have no, I mean, I guess so, sure. So for those who were very sad back in 2006 during your emo days at high school, don't you worry, Axel is back, and he's a Keyblade Master for some reason, but he's not the only one that's going to be wielding a Keyblade. It was shown in a cutscene that Kairi could potentially use a Keyblade in Kingdom Hearts 2. It shows her for like 5 seconds whacking a Heartless for a moment, and then it's never seen or mentioned ever again. It has been confirmed at the end of Dream Drop Distance that she will, in fact, be a Keyblade wielder and going to be, part of the fight at the very end.
Doesn't the cover art for Kingdom Hearts 3 show Kairi with the Keyblade?
There is a couple of key art pieces that shows both Kairi and Axel, aka Lee, sitting together in the sunset. I, in fact, retweeted that, commenting on how half the people wouldn't even understand this reference, because by all means, Kairi and Lee/Axel should hate each other. He kidnapped her. There's no resolution out of any of this whatsoever. But I guess they're now students together. Now, let's talk about the 2 main characters, Sora and Riku. Question number 1. What the fuck happened to Sora after Kingdom Hearts 2? That's a very good question, Nick. I'll answer that as best to my ability. First thing is, there's something called the Mark of Mastery exam. Basically, if you pass this exam as a Keyblade user, you'll become a Keyblade Master. Welcome to Dream Drop Distance story. The power is essentially the ability to turn darkness into Dream Eaters, essentially, which is little buddies that'll fight by your side, almost Pokemon style. Riku takes the test alongside Sora. Sora fails the test because he is a dumbass, as it turns out. Riku passed the test by saving Sora. So Riku is officially a Keyblade Master. Sora is something, a big-shoed, big-haired, pointy-eared idiot. I don't know.
But isn't Sora the one who's been who's been the protagonist for all the
doing
games?
all the good shit, but apparently he
But,
can't.
they don't qualify him for a pass
Yeah,
on the exam?
you'd think getting like an honorary degree in something is something here, but I guess not quite. He does at the end of the game. The reason why he fails is because he gets caught by Xehanort, who traps him in his own fucking dream for some reason, and is trying to do this to take his body, because Xehanort, and this is going to get even more fucked up. This gets explained through multiple different games. Xehanort is an old as shit motherfucker. Like, we're talking, I mean, his original showing of him is a bald-headed motherfucker with a pointed white beard. This is in Birth by Sleep. I was talking about how there was a game that happened 10 years before Kingdom Hearts 3. There are 3 characters. First one I'm going to talk about is Ventus. We don't know too much about Ventus. It was actually shown in the mobile game that is still going on and will continue through Kingdom Hearts 3, and it has an actual canonical impact on this fucking game. That Ventus, some reason, is potentially hundreds of years old, and but somehow got trapped on something called the time axis, which means worlds will move at different time rates. So a year on his world might be 10 years in a different world, and so he's been able to last a lot longer. He's a goddamn kid. He meets Xehanort for some reason, gets trained by him, and Xehanort has a great idea, because he thinks he's going to get Kingdom Hearts, and the only way to unlock Kingdom Hearts in his head right now is to get something called the Keyblade. And Keyblades already existed, but this is a little X symbol, Nick. This is a little X symbol. And apparently in ancient languages of real life, it's Ki, key. And that is how the Keyblade came to be. And this Ventus character apparently is going to be the key to this whole thing, because in order to summon the Keyblade, you must have somebody of pure light and pure darkness fight, Nick. Are you still keeping up with me?
I'm trying. You've lost me already, but I'm trying.
Okay, so back in the heyday, Xehanort, before Kingdom Hearts 1 even happened, took this kid named Ventus and pulled his light from his darkness apart, ripped him into 2 different bodies, so that one day they may fight and fuse to become a Keyblade. Why this makes sense? I don't fucking know, man. Ask Namira. And so in Birth by Sleep, the light version of this Ventus guy has amnesia, because why the fuck not? I know, it's this Kingdom Smarts. Oh, Jesus. Long story short, he doesn't turn into a Keyblade. He fuses into Sora. I shit you not. He's part of his heart is apparently hiding in Sora right now. So right now, Sora, I believe, has 2 different other hearts inside of him right now. Technically, his own nobody who returned to his body, but kind of kept his own conscience. And now this Ventus character. Then he got Aqua, one of the other 3 characters, who is the only female character I saw that wielded Keyblade up until Kairi for the longest time. Is pretty much on cleanup duty for the entire thing, going to different worlds and trying to keep up and figuring out why the hell everybody's being fucking stupid. Terra is probably the most interesting of these 3 characters, Nick. I'm sorry, I'm really tearing you apart with this. Terra is the person that's like, I'm the misunderstood character of this entire game, and Xehanort's like, hell yeah, you are. And Xehanort's like, nothing's wrong with you, my boy. You're just part dark. And darkness is good. And it kind of turns into this weird Mr. Rogers musical sing-along where they're like, darkness is not so bad. Maybe you should try to use it more. Well, as it turns out, Terra's a dumbass, and he got his body taken away and possessed by Xehanort. So Xehanort is no longer an old fart at this point before Kingdom Hearts 1. He becomes a young boy with white hair. And in front of Aqua in this big fight that happens at the end of this game, who is the maid of this game, unfortunately, he forces Ventus to fight his dark self to get the Keyblade. That doesn't happen for some reason. Aqua tries to save Terra from his body being stolen by Xehanort. Xehanort takes his own key and pierces himself and turns himself into a Heartless. Go ahead and laugh if you need to, because it gets stupider. So this is the point where why Xehanort never had an original form for the first 2 games, because he apparently made himself into a Heartless and therefore a nobody at the beginning of this. Plunges himself into darkness. Aqua goes after him, gives his unconscious body the Keyblade to try to hopefully save Terra, who will hopefully fight back and win his body back, and sends him back to the light world, giving up her Keyblade in the process, and in 2.8 was entrapped in the dark world for the most part. So Ventus is hiding in Sora's body. Aqua is in the dark realm right now, who the only person she's seen in a while was Mickey Mouse for at one point. Terra's body is currently possessed by Xehanort. Okay, so what's happening in Kingdom Hearts 3? What should you forget? You probably should forget all the shit I just said, because it's not going to make sense, man. It's not. There's no way they can wrap this all together, can they?
Couple of things. Why? So all I know about Kingdom Hearts is that you've got Sora,
yep,
who goes by 2 different names, Sora Roxas, yeah, and he fights with Mickey, or fights against Mickey, or I don't even know anymore. Donald is there, and then Goofy. Fuck Donald, most annoying motherfucker with his voice in the world. I can't stand him.
That is one thing you should forget. Try to forget as best as you can until Kingdom Hearts 3 that Donald exists. That way you'll play the game.
And then you've got Kairi, who wants to D, but in like a very subtle manner. She wants to get with Sora, and then Sora, who's kind of like oblivious. Riku's the edge lord, and kind of like wants all the power. He was destined for the Keyblade, but it went to Roxas instead, so he's salty about it and does something bad in Kingdom Hearts 2. Yeah. And then there's time travel, and then like why isn't the main story in the main games and in the spin-off games?
Because all these other stories that don't have a number in them, well, there's actually a lot of games, the side stories that have fucking numbers in them. 358 divided by 7, oh boy, or 2, 358 over 2. It's because they gotta retcon the absolute living shit out of the entire game, so they want it to make sense. You see, Nick, you wanted to talk about how Metroid Prime 4 is being redone by the developers right now, by a different company, Retro Studios, who was in charge of the original Metroid Prime, because they want the game to make sense. Maybe it's, it's more action, but in a game that says story dense as Kingdom Hearts, they can't just redo everything. They can't fix everything. So what do? They make 5 to 7 different games to try to retcon every single fucking thing they could think of, so that Kingdom 3 will make sense. When people play Kingdom Hearts 3, they're like, this doesn't make sense. But
at this point, it's really just a simple fix of adding in a character who's like, aha, I can control all the timelines, and now everything's been unified, and this is what's happening. Tell me that wouldn't be impossible. Tell me that wouldn't make sense.
It would not make sense.
No, it would make sense, because with the way they've been going, it's kind of like, all right, so you've just erased all of these different timelines, and now we have Sora, Riku, and all these other characters, and it just works. Okay,
let's stupid simplify it then. Who is good and who is bad? Okay, let's
do you, first of all, do the devs know?
I hope so, for God's sake, because God, I hope so. There's one bad guy, okay? Well, there's 2 bad guys, okay?
We got Xehanort.
You got Xehanort, and right now you got Maleficent. Maleficent, bless her, sometime during this bullshit series of games, she was the main bad guy in Kingdom Hearts 1, and she, fucked around a little bit in Kingdom Hearts 2. She discovered that she could time travel. Just out of the blue, she read a book. I know, right? I'm telling you, man, retcon. And you can only apparently time travel in the Kingdom Hearts universe by time traveling to a location you were at that point in time. So, for example, if I was 20 and I wanted to time travel to when I was 7, I would time travel to exactly where I was when I was 7 years old at that time. That's the fucking logic. I don't know why. So she does that, goes back in time, and it turns out the place that she wanted to go to was data mined. It got turned into a data world. So she got fucking trapped in a computer. Why did she do that? I have no idea. She thought she'd have a better chance before these pesky kids and the fucking Donald Duck. And she wanted to find something. I haven't even talked about this, Nick. It's called the Book of Prophecies. Also known better probably as the Book of Retconning.
Okay.
I'm not even going to go in that direction. I'm going to forget about that, man. I'm not going to talk about Union Cross because that's another game that goes hundreds of years in the past. Hundreds, Nick. We got to run. So you got Maleficent. And you got Xehanort. Xehanort wanted 13 of him because why the fuck not? He wanted fucking 13 Xehanorts in the world. And his original plan was to have Organization 13, the main antagonist group of Kingdom Hearts 2, and bit by bit take over each of their bodies. It didn't work out, as it turns out. Everybody hated each other. So he said, instead of doing that, why don't I just time travel? So instead of having 30 different possessed bodies, he's going to have a mix of possessed bodies and different Xehanorts from different time periods all at the same time for some reason. Because why the fuck not? So those are the bad guys. A bunch of Xehanorts, a bunch of bold men, old farts, Captain Ginnuing people's bodies, which is interesting. Which apparently will also include this was mentioned. Aqua, the lady who was trapped in darkness, her brother, friend, Terra got taken over. Ventus is currently hiding off in Sora's heart, and his body is locked away in the Chamber of Awakening, which is hidden in Castle Oblivion, which Xehanort wants to get into, but he can't find it. I know I went on a horrible tangent there. I'm very sorry. She also apparently got Norded, aka taken over by Xehanort. So it's so weird because I feel like they're going to introduce each of these characters and then it's going to like freeze frame and say, you're probably wondering what the fuck happened with Aqua. You're probably asking, what the fuck happened with Riku? I don't know, man. You got
Aqua evil now? Or was she always evil?
She was 100% good, but she got possessed by Xehanort and she is now one of the 13 Xehanorts right now. So she has glowy yellow eyes and all that stuff. A bunch of the characters that were a part of the Organization 13 that got turned back into regular people, some of them just kind of said, fuck off. I'm out of here. One person known as his nobody form is Xigbar, now fucking brag. He apparently has been teaming up with Xehanort before he was even a bad guy, like super bad guy. And so a lot of people don't know that much about Xigbar, even though he's actually been really behind the scenes. I feel like we should just cut out this whole fucking section, Nick. This it's like Nick's like, this is a bad episode. What are we doing here? It's hard to get hyped for Kingdom Hearts 3 when you have no fucking idea what's going on. It's like Metal Gear Solid at this
Nobody point. Has an idea what the fuck is going on in Kingdom Hearts 3.
I do.
No, you don't. You think you do. You put yourself under this illusion that you understand what's going on, but you really don't. You're just excited for the game.
Ask me a fucking question. I can tell you anything about the lore or tell you if there's no lore in that section.
There is no lore in the game because it's so convoluted.
It's Kingdom Hearts.
Tyler, are you excited for the game?
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
I am 100% hyped for this game. It stinks because I want to be the shepherd for people's lives, because there's two horrible things that can happen right now, Nick, that really scares me about Kingdom Hearts 3. The first one is it's so fucking complicated that all the exposition and dialogue that they're going to have to pump in to make this make sense is going to confuse and scare off the people who just played Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. The other thing they could do, which is even scarier in my eyes because this affects me directly, is they simplify everything. If they just say, screw the lore, Sora, you're going to go the Agrabah. And it's like, no, don't do this to me again. I'm sick of Agrabah. Who is Terra's dad? Technically, I mean, do you call that Xehanort? Terra's dad. I mean, technically, would it be Ericus? I'm sorry. I'm talking to myself over here. I'm looking over at the chat. Apparently, Brandon decided to challenge me. He's like, who is Terra's dad? And it's like, technically, it's Master Ericus, who's in charge of the 3 students, before he tried killing off Ventus because he realized that Ventus was cause evil. Terra struck him down and killed him to save him. And oh my gosh. I'm so chock full of like Kingdom Hearts knowledge that trying to explain it to somebody makes me look like a madman immediately, Nick. Like,
All it makes me think of is that scene, I can't remember where it's from, but with Charlie Day and with the backboard behind him with all the pictures and the threads going here and there, and he's got a marker in one hand and he's like, it makes sense. Listen to me.
it's a
I know what I'm talking about.
College Humor episode where somebody tries to explain like the Zelda timeline on a fucking board, and it's like, don't do this. You're gonna hurt yourself, my friend. Okay.
Bottom line of that entire segment is that if you're excited for it, I'm happy you are. But to me, it seems it's got the most convoluted story, and that's what stops me from getting to it. Besides the fact that I don't have a PlayStation. Even if I had one, getting into Kingdom Hearts at this point would be hard because it's just so fucked.
I also want to point out that instead of listening to the past 25 minutes, there is a podcast out there called Got It Memorized, who is doing a summary episode over the entire Kingdom Hearts franchise.
And not that you don't understand it, but they probably had it a little bit better planned out, because I think you just picked a point to start from, and then you just went on from there.
Look, I spent 2 hours in the truck trying to explain to my head how this was going to work out, but the more I talked, I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense if you just say that. I explain that. It's a goddamn spider web and it's scary.
Yes, it is.
Nick, what is coming out this week?
We've got we're finally getting games coming out. That's nice. We've got a game called Genesis Alpha 1 that's coming out for the PC, PS4, Xbox One on the 29th of January. So that is Tuesday.
Yes, it will be rivaling another game that's coming out.
Kingdom Hearts 3, which we've just spent the last 4 years talking about, coming out on PC. It's not coming out on PC, is it?
Wait, what did they say?
It's only coming out on PS4. I'm kind of sure.
Yeah, well, PS4 and Xbox One for sure, but it shouldn't come out for the
PS. Kingdom Hearts is not coming out for the Xbox One.
Yes, it is 100% coming out for the Xbox One.
Is it actually?
Yes, it was. It was upsetting a lot of people, but yeah, Square Enix stopped trying to do the PS4 exclusive stuff with Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts.
That's news for me. That's shocking. I'm happy about that. All right, cool. So Kingdom Hearts 3, right. PS4, Xbox One, January 29th.
Yes.
For Honor, Year 3, Season 1, PC, PS4, Xbox One, January 31st, along with Warbital, that's coming out on PC. Warbital spelled Worbital. Now, talking about For Honor really quick, as I've mentioned in the last few episodes, Ubisoft, I truly respect Ubisoft for sticking with games that have a slow start and are not so good at launch, but then figuring it out and making it work for the niche community that they attract. So if you still play For Honor, and if you still play For Honor, I'm sure you know that there's a new drop coming out. Anything you know about Warbital, Tyler?
Yes, Warbital is an interesting. If I were to compare it to maybe not Angry Birds, but Worms, okay. But it's essentially you are on an orbit around the sun, and your goal is to destroy other planets by shooting energy at them. And you got to aim your trajectory and all that stuff, trying to aim around, different planets and whatnot, and try to hit them and light them up, lower their health bar, and eventually just destroy the other planet. And meanwhile, you're spinning around the sun, so slowly you got to try to time your shots and your trajectories to try to hit other planets. Right. It looks like a good fun game that will be coming out on the 31st. I do not have a price for that because it does not say, since it's not coming out yet.
Okay. Then we've got Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown, coming out on the PC February 1st, so this Friday. This is following on the release of it on console last week. DreamWorks Dragon's Dawn of New Riders, PC, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, February 1st as well. And Song of Memories, PS4, February 1st. Do we know anything about either of these games, Tyler?
DreamWorks Dragon's Dawn of New Riders.
I'm assuming that's in relation to the How to Train Your Dragon universe.
Yes, it is absolutely that. It's developed by Climax Studios, and it's a game. It's a movie game. The features, as I'm looking at this website by the looks like maybe the publisher. I'm not even sure at this point. A new adventure. Recover Scribbler's lost memories as you forge a friendship with Patch, his ultimate hybrid dragon. So it's focused on the universe of How to Train Your Dragon, but it's you playing as a new character, I guess you would say. So you are an OC character, which I'm not sure. I've never seen that character in any of the movies, Scribbler, but I guess he'll be playing riding a cool looking dragon that's kind of purple and feathery looking, which would make sense considering it's called hybrid. Apparently, you'll unlock powerful abilities and take on fearsome foes. It's okay. I have no idea. This could be a platformer. It looks like a platformer.
Okay. And Song of Memories is a visual novel that came out last year in Feb on PC, and it's now coming out on PS4. It's a romantic. Yes.
Retcon something if I could.
Yeah.
The website that gave us the release date of this thing might have been mistaken for this game because there's a nice little wallpaper here that they pray to God somebody like takes. It says February 15th for all the platforms instead of February 1st. So I'm guessing what happened was it put February 1st as kind of like a post date. Like we didn't know what day of the month we're actually going to put it on, so we're just going to say the first. So okay. That is the case. I'm sorry. You were talking about Song of Memories, though?
Yeah, no, that's it. It's just like a romantic adventure visual novel that has, post-apocalyptic themes, apparently. It says it's a dark visual novel. I don't know. But it's a visual novel, regardless. So there's that. Well, and I believe that's all we have on our release list.
Oh, wow. I'm looking at the website for this this game in particular, Song of Memories, and the first thing it shows is a preview video. It looks like somebody doing the backstroke, a fine lady, blue hair, purple eyes, wearing nothing but a very, very small bikini. This is anime as fuck.
Tyler, I said visual novel, so
fair enough.
I don't know what you're expecting. Imagine a visual novel in the style of Fortnite art.
I don't know.
I don't think that'll go very well.
Okay. Oh boy. So we have 8 games that came out this day in gaming, which is January 28th.
Yes, 28th.
Sir. Sorry, I got thrown off there. Let's alternate this. I'll take the first one. 1 year ago, for the PC, Dragon Ball FighterZ, the Ultimate Edition, came out. So happy 1 year birthday for Dragon Ball FighterZ. It's kind of weird that Dragon Ball FighterZ is over a year old. It just feels like it was an early game. It was a fantastic game, though, too.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick?
Oh, yeah, that's me. Hi. Yeah. We've got Rise of the Tomb Raider that came out in 2016 on this day on PC. Rise of the Tomb Raider being the second installment in the series, right? In the current trilogy.
Yes. This came out, well, it's weird because I'm pretty sure, PC and Xbox One came within like a week of each other, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then the PlayStation 4 did not get to see it for like 8 months. So it's just throwing me off here that it's showing PC, but not Xbox. But Xbox One must have got it like a day or two in either direction.
Well, it's an Xbox exclusive and probably also Microsoft's revenge on all the Sony time-gated games with all the different developer deals. Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas came out in 2014. Now, it's going to sound a little weird because you're like, what the heck, Tyler? That's a PlayStation 2 game. It came out in 2014 on the Windows Phone. Oh, why the fuck it came out on the Windows Phone is beyond me, but at the Windows Phone...
There's a reason it's a failed product.
Damn, Nick, that's beautiful. Why would you do that? Why would you say that? Oh, man.
Moving on, Tomb Raider, the first of this current trilogy, Tomb Raider Definite Edition and Game of the Year Edition came out PS4, Xbox One, and the PS3 in 2014.
Now, specifically, the Definitive Edition, aka the remaster, and that's very,
said very
loosely, it came out for the PS4 and Xbox One. And then they released a simultaneously that day the Game of Year edition for the PlayStation 3 owners. Even though PlayStation 4 has been out for a year or two at that point, they wanted to make sure that if you really wanted to play Tomb Raider on the original PS3, we could totally hook you up. This is a pretty big one, I'd like to think. Mass Effect 2 came out 7 years ago on the PC in 2012. Wowza, man.
I've only played Mass Effect 3. But I have
any of them, but I have watched so much play of it.
I have friends who live and die by Mass Effect, at least until Andromeda, where they conveniently like to forget that Andromeda is even a game.
And then they stopped living; they just died. Yeah. Oh man.
Then we have Mafia on this list that came out for the PS2 in 2004. Not a game that I played.
No, same here, but it was a very popular game back in the day, and a lot of people want to, make sure it gets recognized. Coming up in 2004 as well, for the Japanese Game Boy Advance, Pokemon Leaf Green Fire Red came out.
This was a big one.
That was another big one. I mean, speaking of remaster and ports and all that stuff, this is probably one of the biggest jumps for us as a Nintendo person. Like, the only other game I could think of that, besides like, Mario or something like that, getting a port or whatnot was probably, maybe Link's Awakening DX, from the Game Boy Color, but that's a very minor jump. This was just a huge push for Pokemon World.
This is also, I believe, the start of the trend of remasters. This was the first set of remastered Pokemon games. And I clearly remember Charmander getting Metal Claw at level 14 that would help fight that you could use to help fight Brock.
Nice. Man,
it was either Charmander or Charmeleon at evolution. I can't remember, because I'm the kind of person to sit outside in the grass patches outside a gym and just train until I'm like at level. So my starter Pokemon has to be 2 levels higher than everybody else in my team, and everybody else in my team has to be at the same level, and that same level has to be on par with the gym leader's highest Pokemon. And so by default, my starter Pokemon was always 2 levels higher. That was my strategy throughout the games.
Nice. And did it work?
Oh yeah, I breezed through everything, but I'd spend a lot of time training.
Oh, okay. Lastly, Nick.
What is this? Gran Turismo 2. This came out on the European PlayStation 1 in 2000. That's a long time ago. I was 4 at that time.
You were 4?
Yeah, because May 95, right? So I was only 4 and a half.
Man, I was 9.
Yeah.
Man, I was 9, you're 5. Man, I was in school when you're just in diapers still.
I was 4 years old. I was not in diapers. What do you mean, Tyler?
I don't know what it's like over there, man.
It's pretty much the same. What do you mean?
Whatever you say, man. Oh, jeez. Okay. Let's wrap this up. Nick, where can we find you, buddy?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at LRWarrior11. You can also find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/LRWarrior11. Streams are going to be about rare, just because school and games, and like some games I can't even stream. Like I wouldn't be able to stream Anthem. I would if I could, but then Anthem chews up 90% of my CPU. It'll leave nothing. I can't have anything running when Anthem is on. I can't have a Chrome window open. Nothing. Everything has to be closed down for Anthem to like run smoothly.
Ooh, that's brutal. I'm sorry to hear that.
But yeah, that's me.
You can find me on Twitter at 2timestyler. All letters, one word. But most importantly, for the two of us together, you can find us multiple places now. You can find us on Twitter at MasterQuestPod, or you can email us at casualmasterquest@gmail.com. However, and this is probably one of the most important points, we have a couple extensions of social media if you'd like to.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do, Nick. Take it away.
On Instagram, you can find us at casualmasterquest. We're slowly going to start working on that. We just have to figure out technologically how to get that going, because I'm having a few issues there, considering that I have an iPhone and I can't download certain things. But once that's up and running, you're going to be able to find previews on our page for weekly episodes. And then you can also find us on Facebook. How do we find ourselves on Facebook?
Well, I mean, you can just search it on the search bar, Casual Master Quest, or
do that.
Quest, which is one word. But you can find out, you can see random posts. Just keep updated. Maybe you don't want to look at your phone every single day and, like, oh gosh, my life is of a normality that I can no longer handle. I need Casual Master Quest in my life. How do I just constantly refresh the podcast player? Or you can just check Facebook. We'll post it there. We'll let you know. Don't you worry.
But yeah, we are.
I think that was the show, Nick.
I think that was it. Yeah.
Episode 37. That was a fantastic one. Sorry about the horrible Kingdom Hearts. Man, that was a hell of a I took in hundreds of episodes.
You had to get it out, Tyler. I understand.
And I just had to.
Yeah, I understand.
So much listening to it, and I really hope it was beneficial. I really hope it comes to use. I feel like they're not going to use any of it, but we'll see. I didn't talk to you about the dandelions, Nick.
Fuck the dandelions. I don't even want to know.
Oh man, but the dandelions. So what about the Master of Masters? We will see you guys next week. Hopefully, we'll talk about some legit, understandable Kingdom Hearts 3 level stuff. We're gonna give you hot takes, fun stuff, inside info, and all that stuff. We'll keep it to like the first hour or two, so you don't feel like you're heavily spoilered or anything like that. But get ready; it's gonna be fun. And don't forget, they never stop the grind. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Love you.